Hi guys, welcome to the Friday video. Glad you could be here. Lots of things to talk about today. I've been taking a webinar on different ways to use crystals in your life, and that sparked some thinking for me. So there's some stuff about that. I was planning on doing maybe a Q&A today, but apparently I'm sharing enough for you guys because there were no Q's to A. But if you have any, let me know and we'll do that again in the future. One of the things that I've been thinking about recently and am trying now is making gem oils. So we talked about making crystal elixirs with the water and how you can use that. Well, I've also started to make crystal oils with consecrated oil. My study group and I made consecrated oil here not too long ago, and it is becoming quartz oil, which will be a base for the others as I make them. I think that you need to follow the same safety guidelines that you would follow for the water-based elixirs, in that you don't want anything that's going to have heavy metals that can soak in through your skin, for instance. If you're using food-grade oil, olive oil, which you can use, although it smells musty over time, even if you keep it in the amber bottles. I think the oil that we used, I want to say, was avocado oil. It might be almond oil. It's a massage oil type oil. You can find these a lot less expensive at your Indian food market. That coconut butter, all of those things, way less expensive at your Indian grocer. So the goal is that you can't always carry a pocket full of rocks, but you can always wear a little perfume. So if you create several basic gem oils, you can mix them and blend them just like you would with essential oils. In fact, you could use them with essential oils. Let's see, an example that I came up with is for this thing that I think I want to try is the world right now is a pretty harsh, judgy, angry place. So if you wanted to do one for unconditional love, both to give and receive it, you could set that intention that's what you want in your life, and then you could use a blend of oils that would include a rose quartz oil, a moonstone oil, and or a jade oil, along with like rose or lilac essential oils. Peace lily, if you can find it, would be good for this. So then you're kind of doubling up. You've got oil that's at the frequency of your gemstone, and you have essential oil that's the frequency with the fragrance, the flower, the essence of that. So you've got two things that work together anyway with your intention and will behind it that you can wear whenever and wherever you want. Yay! You could also use it to dress candles, and there's another intent. So you would do that on, say, a pink candle and burn it, and all the intent. You could probably try this also with herbal teas, and this is something that came up in one of the webinars that I've been watching, And it's a group, the Gaia Collective, that does something called the Moon Box, which is a monthly box geared towards whatever the energy of that full moon is. You get a whole bunch of stuff in their little box, stones and oils and teas and all of that, delivered monthly to help you get through the full moon. But you can do the same thing with like herbal teas and the water-based elixirs, just to ramp up the effectiveness for the tea. So let's say we have a lot of women in the group. Let's say that you're drinking moontime tea because, oh my God, the cramps. You could do that, but use carnelian elixir for your tea water. You could also store a carnelian in with your tea bags, or loose tea if you have it. I would not recommend putting an actual crystal, say, in your tea ball, because a lot of the times, they're really good at soaking heat, and you're liable to crack them. If the stone is chilly and you pour that really, really boiling hot water on it, you could damage your stone. So these are the stone things. These are things that I'm doing and starting to experiment with and try. I encourage you to do it also. And then over in the community section of the Patreon, or in the comments of this one even, we can start a discussion there. And I would like to remind you, in the community section, I can comment on the posts, but I can't start the conversation over there. Which is kind of cool. Because that gives you guys a place to talk and discuss with each other too, which I encourage. That's not being used, and I mean, that's something that, oddly enough, you're paying for. So, and I'm more than willing to just chat up for a day someplace other than Facebook. I think you're all feeling me there. I can kind of feel the love. So now, here's the rant that's going to happen. Because today's video, we have a rant section. How appropriate for the day after the Ides of March. And the day before St. Patrick's Day, which we do not celebrate at my house. The moon and the sun. In this crystal webinar I've been taking, it's very woo, which I can't get down on, considering that we're here about crystal healing. But everything is so lunar centric, and the cycles of the moon, and the gentle of the moon, and the sweet lady in the sky, which she is. But I have this thing, and I've had it for a while, that the moon is great, and there are tides, and there are eclipses, and there are things and myths that go clear back to the dawn of time about the moon. But we can only see the moon because it reflects the light of the sun. The sun. The biggest celestial object near us, the most powerful generator that we have, like, direct access to. Like, we're light minutes away from the sun. It takes light about 8 minutes to get here. The winds move a little slowly, but the winds have solids in them. And they're moving faster than we can, so it takes about 3 days if solar wind is released from the sun to hit us. So there's something to keep in mind. When I start giving you guys alerts that in just a few days it's going to be hit the fan time, that's what it is. So, yeah, I've had this thing about the sun getting ignored, because without the sun, there's no life here. Without the sun, nothing grows. We're even learning with solar energy how to power our world cleanly with that. And it's a really vibrant, active place. the moon is fairly passive unless it takes an impact. But the moon changes from day to day. And if you're interested in seeing what's going on with the moon, you actually don't just have to watch online. There are fairly inexpensive, we have one, telescopes that will do sun and moon. It has a special filter to do the sun, and you can set it up and actually see the sunspots that they're talking about. On really cool active days, you can see it spewing out coronal cores bits. It's really interesting and really exciting, and will also make the ride interesting in about 3 days. So we have all of that, and it zooms out across space to us and the other planets, and that's awesome. Now, one of the things that they've discovered, because I've been talking about, all these storms and things, and here lately, the auroras, and this happens every spring and fall, more in the spring. They're not sure why. That the auroras just explode. It's one of those ways that they know spring is coming. Well, what they've discovered, because they sent up a little beastie to go look, is that we have these really cool electromagnetic ropes that actually connect us to the sun. So, the Earth is not round. We're a spheroid. And we're thicker at the middle. And we wobble like a top between the sun and the moon, back and forth, back and forth. Well, at the equinoxes, the spring equinox is stronger because sun. What happens is these ropes tense and slack and change sort of how they are, and they create gaps in our electromagnetic field, which allows more of the solar wind stuff to hit our magnetosphere, which is a level of our atmosphere. So it lights up all these extra auroras and things. Now, as I'm reading about this and studying this, because I rabbit holed yesterday, it hit me that, well, shoot, those are the times of the year when the veil is thinnest. Now, correlation is not causation by any means, but it's very interesting that as gaps are forming in our electromagnetic field that protects the Earth from all kinds of different radiations and things, that the veil is also thin and communication is easier with the other side. That's kind of food for thought. I tend to think that there's a link somehow. I don't know how we'll go about studying that, other than to just acknowledge that it's there and be grateful for it, because yay. Now, Kim, what does all the solar sciencey stuff have to do with crystals? Well, did you know that you can actually use crystals to mitigate some of the EM interference for you? You can. So if at the spring and fall equinoxes things start to get a little more intense for you, the haints up in the attic are rattling their chains a little more, you kind of want to turn down the volume for that dinner party, business meeting, video chat. There are things that you can do. One of the cheapest and easiest ways to do that is amber. I'm assuming that's because amber is sort of a plasticky, resiny, happy thing. I don't advise crystal skulls for that because they're a little more expensive. But for, say, $5, you can get a big chunk of amber. And I'm looking for one because I thought I had them right behind me. but apparently I am a bad witch, and I do not. They are out of my reach. One moment. Rumble, rumble, grumble, and gripe. All right, excuse that, I guess, exit stage left. So, this is just an ugly chunk of amber that would likely have been crushed into incense, which you can also use for this purpose. It was $5 on eBay, free shipping. Buy now. We didn't even have to bid on it, and we have several pieces like that around. So you can use the stone itself, grid where your electronics are, where you sleep. Place them in areas where activity is greatest. In your kids' rooms. You can also burn the incense. That will help. You can put a chunk of it in, like, your holy water in a spray bottle. And when you go spritzing and smudging, spritz that too. I would actually say that would be pretty good on the windows. Any place where you've got light, more interference coming in. You could probably do it, make your own crystal oil like we were talking about. I am not sure, because it is, an organic plastic. If it being in the oil would damage it or not. So you might just want to go ahead and invest in the essential oil for that. I think amber is one of the less expensive ones of those. So this is something that I'm doing. I'm keeping it around right now to keep things at a keel, and so that, Frank, our house ghost, doesn't get all stompy, because sometimes he does if he's not happy. And then we make him happy. Well, right now he's pretty good, but we also have his volume notched down just a little bit so we can go about our day. So that's what I have for today. I know the video's a little longer, and they're getting a little longer, but perhaps next week's will be shorter. I'm definitely going to try to have a prayer of chant for you next week. Sunday, we'll be drawing another pocket rock for the week card to go with your daily card. I'm considering, and I would like you to let me know in the comments, I have this really cool deck that is an oracle that somebody gifted me. I'm sorry that that's reversed. How odd. It's called the Cosmic Deck of Initiation, and it has mandalas. It's by Barbara M. DeLong. And I'm thinking about drawing one of those, either weekly or monthly, because initiation is a process that we've largely lost. And it gives us something specific, some specific goal to work on over the course of the month. Some examples of the things you can find in here are the law of cause and effect. That's one of them. The law of transmutation, universal balance, universal healing, but all sorts of initiations for certain kinds of energy. And that might be something cool to try. Let me know if you want to, and I will start doing that. I've been doing it for myself. I really like it. But I would be happy to share those polls, a special poll for the group as a whole, because we do have some shared energy going on. So let me know, and I hope you have a very good weekend. Don't drink too much green beer. And stay safe, stay well, and I will see you here next week. Blessings.